Learn English through story. The path of shadows and light. In a quiet, remote village nestled between rolling hills and thick forests, there lived a man named Aaron. Known for his wisdom and humility, he had built a simple but content life for himself. His house, perched on the edge of the forest, was always open to travelers, and he often shared his meals with strangers, asking for nothing in return. Aaron believed in the power of kindness, seeing it as the only true way to live a life of peace. However, his world was turned upside down when a wealthy merchant named Karen arrived in the village. Karen was known across the land for his riches, which had been accumulated through cunning, deals, and exploitation. Though admired for his success, Kieran was feared just as much for the rumors that swirled about his ruthless ways of doing business. Some said he had driven competitors to ruin and bribed officials to ensure his power. The merchant had come to the village in search of a rare herb, known to grow only in the depths of the forest, which could be sold in far-off markets for an unimaginable price. Kieran's wealth was vast, but it was never enough. He always wanted more. Upon arriving in the village, he saw Aaron's simple dwelling, and out of curiosity, approached him. "What is it that you do, friend?" Kieran asked as he sat on a bench outside Aaron's home, staring at the small herb garden. "I grow herbs, I tend to the land, and I offer shelter to those who pass by," Aaron replied calmly, serving Kieran a cup of tea. His words were modest, yet his voice carried a sense of fulfillment that Kieran couldn't quite understand. "Is that all? Do you not wish for more in life?" Kieran inquired, looking around at Aaron's humble belongings. Aaron smiled. "I have enough. What more is there to wish for?" Kieran scoffed, taking a sip of the tea. "You must be content because you've never tasted the true luxuries of life. Gold, power, influence, these are the things that bring true satisfaction. You may not know it now, but wealth opens doors to experiences that a man like you could never imagine." Aaron listened but didn't argue. He was not interested in riches or the so-called benefits they brought. To him, peace of mind and a life free from greed and desire were the ultimate forms of wealth. Kieran stayed in the village for a few days, watching Aaron go about his simple life. The two men shared meals, and though they came from vastly different worlds, they developed a strange kind of mutual respect. Aaron admired Kieran's business acumen, while Kieran was fascinated by Aaron's apparent contentment. One evening, as they sat around a small fire, Kieran made an offer. "Aaron, I've been thinking. You're a wise man, and I believe you could be more. You could rise above this life of simplicity. Come with me to the city. I will show you how to build wealth beyond your wildest dreams." Aaron shook his head. "Thank you, but I have no desire for wealth." Kieran pressed on, his voice persuasive. "Wealth is not just about gold or jewels. It's about the power to change the world, to influence people, to leave a legacy. You could use the riches I offer to help more people, build a school, a hospital, or whatever you want. Don't you see? It's not greed, it's opportunity." Aaron looked into the fire, the flames flickering in his eyes. "And at what cost, Kieran? What must be sacrificed for such power and wealth?" Kieran smiled, thinking he had convinced Aaron. "The cost is only that you must be willing to do what it takes. Sometimes, that means making hard choices. But in the end, the rewards far outweigh the sacrifices." The next morning, Kieran prepared to leave the village, having gathered the information he needed to find the herb. Before he left, he gave Aaron one last proposition. I will be heading deep into the forest to find the herb. It is dangerous, and the journey is long. But if you join me, we can split the profits, and I will teach you everything I know about wealth and power." Aaron hesitated for the first time. The idea of journeying into the forest intrigued him, not for the promise of riches but for the challenge of the unknown. He had lived a peaceful life, but a part of him was curious about the world beyond the village. "Very well," Aaron said, "I will join you, but not for wealth. I wish only to see what lies beyond the trees." And so, the two men set out together, venturing into the dense forest. The path was treacherous, filled with steep cliffs, hidden ravines, and wild animals. Along the way, they encountered many obstacles, each revealing something about their characters. At one point, they came across a deep river, its waters raging. A frail old man stood on the bank, unable to cross. Aaron, without hesitation, helped the man across, even though it delayed their journey. Karen, however, was annoyed by the delay, urging Aaron to leave the man behind. "Every minute wasted is gold slipping through our fingers," Kieran muttered. But Aaron paid him no mind and continued to help the old man. Once the man was safely across, he thanked Aaron and warned them both, "Beware of the shadows in this forest, they may not be what they seem." Kieran dismissed the warning, but Aaron took it to heart. As they journeyed deeper into the forest, the landscape grew darker, the trees taller and denser, their twisted branches blocking out the sunlight. Strange noises echoed in the distance, and both men began to feel a sense of unease. Aaron remained calm, but Kieran grew more anxious with each passing hour. Finally, they reached a clearing where the rare herb was said to grow. The clearing was bathed in an unnatural light, and in the center stood a single plant, its leaves shimmering in the glow. Kieran rushed forward, eager to claim the prize. But as he reached for the plant, a shadowy figure emerged from the trees, blocking his path. The figure was tall and cloaked in darkness, its face hidden. It spoke in a voice that seemed to echo from all directions. "To take this herb, you must make a choice. One path leads to unimaginable wealth, but it comes with a price. The other path offers peace and contentment, but no riches. Choose wisely." Kieran, without hesitation, chose the path of wealth. "I have made sacrifices before. I can make them again," he said, his eyes fixed on the herb. Aaron, however, stood still, contemplating the figure's words. He realized that the choice was not about the herb or wealth, but about the kind of life he wanted to lead. The shadows and the light were metaphors for the moral choices that defined a person's soul. "I choose peace," Aaron said quietly. The shadowy figure nodded and disappeared, leaving Kieran to pluck the herb from the ground. As he did, the clearing grew darker, and the shadows seemed to close in around him. Aaron watched as Kieran, clutching the herb, walked back toward the village, his face a mixture of triumph and uncertainty. As they made their way out of the forest, Kieran's mood darkened. Though he had the herb, he began to feel a growing emptiness inside. The thrill of the chase, the promise of riches, had faded, and now all he had was a plant. He thought of the old man they had helped and the shadowy figure's warning, and for the first time, he questioned whether his wealth had truly brought him happiness. Aaron, on the other hand, felt a deep sense of peace. The journey had reaffirmed what he had always known, that true contentment came not from wealth or power, but from living a life of integrity and kindness. When they returned to the village, Kieran sold the herb for a vast fortune. But no matter how much gold he accumulated, The shadows of the forest lingered in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that he had lost something far more valuable than he had gained. Meanwhile, Aaron continued his simple life, tending to his garden and offering shelter to travelers. He never regretted his choice, knowing that the path of peace, though less glamorous, was the one that brought true fulfillment. Years passed, and the village grew. Kieran became richer, building mansions and expanding his influence. But no matter how much he acquired, he was never satisfied. The emptiness gnawed at him, and he found himself longing for the peace that Aaron seemed to possess so effortlessly. One day, Kieran returned to Aaron's house, now an older man, his once sharp features softened by time. He sat on the same bench where they had shared tea all those years ago. "Aaron," Kieran said, his voice filled with weariness, "I've built a fortune, but I feel as though I've lost my way. No matter how much I gain, it's never enough. How do you do it? How do you find peace?" Aaron looked at Kieran with compassion. The shadows in the forest were not just warnings about wealth, they were reflection of our inner selves. You can chase wealth, power, and status, but they will never fill the void inside. True peace comes from within, from being content with what you have, and from living a life of purpose and kindness. Kieran nodded, tears welling in his eyes. "I see that now, but is it too late for me to change?" Aaron smiled gently. "It is never too late to choose the path of peace, my friend. The shadows will always be there, but so will the light. You just have to decide which path to follow." And so, Kieran, humbled by his realization, began to change his ways. He used his wealth to help others, building schools, hospitals, and shelters for those in need. Though he never fully escaped the shadows of his past, he found solace in knowing that he was finally using his power for good. As for Aaron, he continued to live his simple life, content in the knowledge that the path of peace, though difficult at times, was the only one worth walking. And in the end, it was not wealth or power that brought fulfillment, but the quiet satisfaction of a life well lived. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.